Explosive drama in Valencia, Marquez's revelation that shook the paddock. Ricardo Tormo instantly transformed into a stage of high-voltage drama when word spread that Marc Márquez had finally revealed the secret settings of his Ducati GP25, the hidden configuration that had long served as the 8-time world champion's deadliest weapon. The information spread like fire meeting gasoline. Everyone immediately began to speculate. Why did Marquez suddenly open up? What happened behind Ducati's closed garage doors? To heat things up even further, the impact of this revelation was felt right away. Nicolo Bulega, the young rider replacing the injured Marquez, suddenly showed drastic improvement. From previously struggling in free practice, he now looked far more composed, as if he had been handed Marquez's sacred magic key. MotoGP journalists swarmed Ducati's garage, trying to uncover the source of this sudden transformation. All signs pointed to a single figure, Marc Márquez, the mastermind behind a new wave of chaos inside the red garage. Marquez's presence dominates the paddock despite his injury. Although he wasn't riding due to injury, Marc Márquez remained the center of gravity in Ducati's paddock. Every time he stepped out of his motorhome, camera crews moved like moths drawn to a flame. Fans gathered in crowds just to catch a wave or a glance. Ducati mechanics worked at a noticeably different pace, faster, sharper, more intense, as though Marquez's presence alone had raised the competitive bar. Even the engineers stared at their data screens with heightened focus, waiting for reactions or simple nods from the champion. His leadership aura was undeniable. He didn't look like an injured rider. He stood like the chief architect of Ducati's project. And this was exactly why his decision to reveal the GP25's secret settings hit the paddock like an earthquake. Extreme struggles, Bulega battles the wild and savage GP25. Before receiving Marquez's enlightenment, Bulega suffered badly on the GP25. The bike wasn't just challenging, it was brutal. During free practice, Bulega was clearly overwhelmed by the bike's hypersensitive front end. The GP25 jumped, twitched, and reacted violently to even the smallest input. Ducati mechanics themselves described the GP25 as the most ferocious bike to leave the factory in recent years. Its power delivery was explosive, its frame geometry extremely sharp, and the entire character of the bike tailored for Marquez's famously aggressive, risk-heavy riding style. For Bulega, who came from Moto2 and more neutral MotoGP prototypes, the GP25 felt like riding a wild animal without reins. The difficulties became even more visible during the sprint race, where the bike danced out of control in the fast sectors, pushing him further down the order. Sprint race disaster that shattered Bulega's confidence. The sprint race became Bulega's lowest point. He finished far outside the top 10, even losing out to some satellite Ducati riders whose bikes were far more stable. Through sectors 3 and 4, the bike shook violently, the rear end snapped loose, and the front behaved unpredictably whenever he attempted late braking. Once he stepped off the bike, Bulega looked drained and visibly frustrated. "This bike is like a wild animal," he admitted. "Incredibly fast, but its reactions are extreme. The front end is razor sharp." His expression revealed exhaustion and uncertainty. He knew the bike had massive potential, but he couldn't understand how to tame it. This moment ultimately triggered Marquez's intervention, a move that surprised everyone in the Ducati garage. A rare moment, Marquez reveals every secret of the GP25. After the sprint race, Marquez immediately pulled Bulega into the telemetry room. Inside the small space filled with digital graphs, Marquez did something he almost never does. He revealed every secret of the GP25 without holding anything back. Mechanics describe the scene as watching a masterclass from a once-in-a-generation genius. Marquez explained that GP25 was not a bike you could fight. "If you push against it, it becomes even wilder," he said, while pointing at the chassis movement graphs. "Let it move. Don't lock the front. Trust the front tire." He also explained the need for soft, progressive brake release and the absolute requirement of decisive throttle application. Marquez even showed his own throttle charts, something he rarely shared with anyone. For Bulega, it felt like a doorway to a new understanding of how the GP25 must be ridden. Ducati engineers confirm the GP25 was designed entirely for Marquez. Soon after, Ducati engineers confirmed that Bulega's struggles were not his fault. The GP25 was indeed still a raw prototype built entirely around Marquez's style. Its geometry was extreme, its front-end behavior radical, and its power delivery aggressively tailored to suit Marquez's instincts. This wasn't a neutral motorcycle. It was a machine that required the sensitivity and explosiveness of Marquez himself. Yet Ducati hoped Bulega could adapt quickly, wanting to see whether Marquez's riding philosophy could be transferred to another rider. With this revelation, everything finally made sense to Bulega. The bike wasn't meant for him, but he had been given access to the best possible mentor. Stoner drops a bombshell. Marquez named lead developer for GP26 and GP27. The drama escalated further when Casey Stoner dropped a massive bombshell. He revealed that Ducati had silently appointed Marc Márquez as the lead developer for the GP26 and GP27 projects. This wasn't just a technical decision, it signaled a seismic shift inside Ducati's organizational structure. "They have Marc," Stoner said, "a genius who understands the motorcycle with both his mind and his body." He added that only a handful of riders in the history of MotoGP possessed such sensitivity. Ducati was clearly moving away from the Bagnaia-centered era. A new era was beginning, one built around Marquez's DNA. The following morning, Stoner's statement dominated media headlines. Bagnaia drowns in a season filled with pressure and chaos. While Marquez rose higher, Bagnaia fell deeper. The GP25, supposedly his main weapon, became a trap. The front end was too stiff, the rhythm never came, and every lap widened the gap between him and his rivals. The team tried everything, reinstalling GP24 components, reworking electronics, even bringing in senior engineers for extra support. Nothing worked. Bagnaia found himself caught in a cycle of confusion and declining confidence. He felt as though a crucial part of himself as a rider was missing. Meanwhile, his competitors kept improving. The psychological pressure grew, his performance dipped, and every session felt like an emotional battle. His downfall became one of the most heartbreaking storylines of 2025. Marquez's dominance, sprint wins, race wins, and an early world title. While Bagnaia collapsed, Marquez rose like a predator at the peak of his power. He led free practice sessions, crushed opponents in sprint races, and dominated the main races with terrifying precision. The highlight was his early championship victory, securing the world title 5 rounds before the season ended. This showcased just how perfect the synergy between Marquez and the GP25 truly was. Every move he made was calculated, confident, and surgical. Experts began to whisper that MotoGP may have entered a second Marquez era. The question was no longer if anyone could stop him, but whether such a rider even existed. Final 2025 standings and the big question: who is MotoGP's next king? The 2025 season concluded with a surprising final standings list. Alex Marquez soared to second place with 467 points in a brilliant underdog story for Gresini Racing. Marco Bezzecchi secured third with 353 points. Pedro Acosta battled fiercely to take fourth with 307. Bagnaia, however, ended in a painful 5th position with 288 points. But beyond the rankings, a bigger question loomed over MotoGP. Will Marquez's dominance continue into 2026 and beyond? Or will a new talent rise to challenge his throne? MotoGP 2025 gave us massive drama, but the next chapter might be even wilder.